Hi everyone, I am Noelle with Noelle Rollins Art. So have you ever experienced just feeling broken? And then that's a time in life where you meet other people or sports parents or all these things and you just feel like they're only getting to know this partially broken version of you. I'm going to read a chapter in my book today called I'm More Than This Partially Broken Me. And this is all about after grieving my mom and coming into a new family, and then just having people in the world that judged me in this harshest way, and how I dealt with that, how I learned from it, and a little advice I have for you if you're going through that. So, this is my book, Sacred Hellos, Messages from Heaven. How Signs and Creativity Transformed My Decade of Mourning into Peacefulness and Hope. It's available on Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description. Excuse me. This is the illustration with this chapter. It's inspired by the song Blackbird. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All right, I'm going to read this book, so I'm going to be looking off screen part of the time. I am more than this partially broken me. It is amazing how life can change. 2008 to 2009 was such a pivotal time in my life. There was a wedding along the banks of the Mississippi, a first honeymoon attempt, a death, job change, a miscarriage, our dog Sam passed away, a recession, a honeymoon redo, a bankruptcy, an intervention for a family member, a dear friend with stage 4 cancer. It was a very full and emotional 14 months. I always believe there are certain moments in time where there is a figurative chapter change. Sometimes we invite these changes, other times we fight them. These are the moments where we can take this new reality and rewrite the rules, redecide what we will focus on. We can reset boundaries. We can decide what we are no longer going to accept. We can evaluate how we want to live our lives with a fresh clarity and a new outlook. Conveniently, these are windows of time when others around us know that things have changed. They may not fight us as much while we make these changes. This may mean ending toxic friendships, relationships, finally going for a dream, or simply using the good towels, dishes, and candles. During these chapter changes, the part I like is retaking control. Normally, when things feel so out of control in areas outside of my influence, hello pandemic, I can make lists and goals and take back enough of my power to feel stability. In the years following my mom's death, however, there was something I was not prepared for. I did not know how to regain control of this situation. In fact, I was hardly able to define what I was experiencing while living it. As I worked to put my life back together in the months and years following my mom's passing, I felt like many people were only getting to know this partially broken me. I had a new husband, new in-laws, new neighbors, new parents of the teammates on my daughter's sports teams, a new family dynamic. I had the wind knocked out of me when my mom died. While I worked to refine my footing, I had people criticize me with the most hurtful, deep judgments. I was used to feeling accomplished and strong and appreciated. People in the past had always given me the benefit of the doubt, and I was confident of how I fit into the world. What people do not tell you about losing a best friend, a mom, at least for me, was that I would deeply miss having that person who was always in my corner. She was always there to listen to any trouble I was having and give me the perspective and reassurance. She was the person who would know my intention. She would tell me when I was wrong. I could trust her. And I'm grateful my sisters were so supportive, at least as much as they could be. They had 6 babies between them in the decade since. They had their own full plates. My husband was a godsend, and he listened to me, worked through my feelings over and over. Even with him, though, it took me years to heal enough to feel strong enough to speak up for my own needs without getting the validation from my mom. I found out I was being berated behind the scenes by someone in my inner circle who had only ever appeared supportive to my face. It sucks. This person attacked my career as an artist, my choice to work from home while raising the kids. He even told his own daughter not to turn out like me and to be an artist. He did not want to start her being in the creative art field. My whole life, I had always been appreciated and accepted as an artist. It was not something others looked down upon. I worked really hard. I studied my craft. I made money. I loved what I did. I had won the career lottery. I was not prepared for how deep it would hurt to have someone passive-aggressively tearing me apart. To attack the artist in me was to attack my way of life, my outlook, my heart, my dreams. I was still so broken from grieving my mom that I could not properly put everything in the correct perspective and handle this unexpected storm appropriately. It took me years, very frustrating years, to get to a place where this person's words did not matter. He was a coward who never said any of this to my face. Instead, he would share it to anyone else who would listen. I had to get really real with myself and acknowledge that I would never want to live his life. I should not care if he understands how I live mine. Normally, though, this is where having a mom who had my back would have outweighed this person's opinion. More than this person's words, I hated that they affected me, and it frustrated me for years. While still dealing with the above-mentioned person, one weekend I participated in a group art show. Not one person I knew came. Thankfully, there was others who shopped and visited, but I felt so alone. I felt like a failure, so invisible, and sorry for myself. In my mind, I could see that obviously I suck at having friends, and I have been delusional to think I have any artistic skills at all. The joke was on me. I could not even get people to show up at a local place to see my work. Nobody cared. This hate-spewing man was right. I should quit art. I put a wall up after that experience. I did not want to feel vulnerable. I did not ever want to feel bombarded with someone else's doubt and judgment like I had in years prior. I did not want to feel any more sadness that all hurt too much. This led me to multiple times of being ready to walk away from my art career. There were countless times of feeling isolated, misunderstood, and angry. I was upset with everybody, mostly myself. I had tried to balance kids, work, life, marriage, and I had failed. A little dramatic, but that's how I felt. Every 6 months or so, I would end up hysterically crying during a breakdown. Why couldn't I get my career to the level I wanted? Why didn't others seem to care about me? Why did it feel like me against the world? This heartache led me down a very long but life-changing path. My path to healing started one night while I was deep in the depths of uncertainty and despair. I wrote a private letter of anger laying out every part of my life and career that I was not okay with. Here's part of the letter. I'm tired of caring. I'm tired of caring more for others than they ever will for me. I realize I've been rewarding, in my own head, points for being nice, quote unquote. Points for including others, points for making others feel smart, strong, creative. I'm a noticer. I thrive on noticing things. This includes life lessons. I often try to learn from others' mistakes so I don't have to do the same stupid crap. So thank you, people, for being my teacher to me, even though you didn't know you were. My letter might have had stronger language than that. My life has included multiple times of sticking up for the underdog and losing groups of friends at a time for doing so. I would always tell myself that I'd rather be the person who did what was right, and that I was sure those same people would do the same for me. Have not seen most of those people since, but points in my head for effort though, right? Am I being unrealistic to what the world has to offer? Is this just how people treat one another? Have I just been blissfully ignorant to it? If I give up on the people around me who don't give back, am I perpetuating that system that I try so hard to rise above? If I quit art for a while and instead spend time doing things only for me and my family, will that help me reestablish my internal compass and make things clear again? Will it replenish my heart? I love the message and intention of my art so much that I'm terrified to let it take on a life of its own. I want so deeply for it to be out in the world that I'm gripping it too tight. I'm blocking it from the lives it's supposed to help. I'm so in it, I cannot properly see it. I cannot tell where I end and it begins. The world needs people who are willing to see what is possible. It needs people to be dreamers when the world is full of people too scared to be vulnerable. I want to be one of those people. I want to make a difference. I want you to see me. Yet I want to not need your opinion. I wish I could live in a bubble where I could create and give and never depend on anyone. But that's not reality. I must sell my work, my ideas, my dreams to get to continue to play the game. I wish I did not feel so let down so often. I wish people would step up, be real with me, be real with yourself. I wish we could truly see each other. I wish we were not all so busy that we could be a friend to those who really matter to us. I wish as a society we would celebrate and honor people who live from their heart as much as we do those who talk most with their mouths. Have I got it all wrong? Have I been kidding myself? I feel like there must be a mismatch in how I think versus how people perceive me. I am a strong person. Does that translate to people that I don't need encouragement? That I will just figure it out? I play with that in my mind because yes, I am strong. I am smart, loving, and sensitive as well. However, as strong as I am human. I do need support. I do need people in my corner. So that's where the letter ends. So back to the book. I am partly embarrassed by that letter, but mostly grateful for it, that I let it out. In writing that letter, I had an epiphany. I had pushed people out. I realized that I was not being vulnerable or fully honest with myself. I was not letting people help me or support me. I was only sharing my stories of success after I knew how they would turn out. Anyone else ever done this? I was not letting others be with me on the journey to that success. I did not want to fail. I had to teach myself that it was okay to be vulnerable and let others in, even when I didn't know how things were going to turn out. The second lesson I learned is that I was focusing on the wrong people and situations. There were indeed women in my life who knew and understood the real me. These were my people. They have been mentors to me in so many ways. They have been surrogate mothers to me, teachers, inspirations, and wise gifts of calm in a swaying decade. They've been reminders to have fun. They've validated me, the realist me. They also continue to accept me as I showed up. Looking back, I can also see now with a better perspective that I have loved spending time with my husband and being with my kids so much that I have devoted nearly all my time to them. Any other free time was spent with my dad and siblings, and I have not been the best about reaching out to friends. I'm a really low maintenance, see a couple times a year kind of friend right now in my life. Thankfully, most of my friends are also, but they also continue to accept me as I showed up. Looking back, I can see now with better perspective that I have loved spending time with my husband and be with my kids so much. Oh, sorry, repeated that. It is only now with years of perspective that I can see how my grief affected how I received the initial criticism about my art career. In past times, I am certain I would have brushed it off without a second thought. In this new reality, though, nothing felt stable or secure. When that criticism intersected with the grief, it snowballed into years of doubt and anger at myself and the world. Grief is sneaky like that. I would have never guessed that grief would make me debate giving up a career that I love. Yet, I can read it back to myself now with more clarity. I have always said that art is my tool. It is my way of getting uplifting messages out into the world. I have recognized my own need to be seen and understood and see the connection now to why I create art and gifts that can help others feel connected, understood, and seen. I share this story and my letter for anyone who has experienced loss. Grief is messy. Sometimes it does not feel like grief. It feels like anger, loneliness, frustration. It can be shown in ways that we ineffectively handle situations that under normal times would not have affected us. Gift yourself grace as you find new footing. I also share this for the sensitive hearts like me. Even without grief, I clearly felt frustrations with the way I interacted with the world. I felt taken advantage of, empty, sad. I know I'm not alone in those feelings. Reaching that level of anger and resentment was a gift to me. In the years since, I have learned to chill out a ton more, and give only when I will not be resentful if the giving is not reciprocated. I have had to recognize my role in thinking patterns, and including how I fill my heart and needs. I also had to acknowledge where I was putting focus and too much need, and where I was taking others for granted. This process would have helped me years before my grief journey, but I'm grateful for it now. I will never know how things would be if my mom were still here. So instead of sitting in an unsolvable pool of wishing she were here and feeling sorry for myself, I'm learning to break that pattern by reframing how I think of my years of grieving. I can instead focus on the layer of strength I have gained. I've also gained an understanding that being vulnerable or grieving does not equal being weak. I have found a deeper appreciation for life and those around me. I am grateful for those things. My mom taught me so much about how to love, give, help, parent, create, about marriage and running a household. I am so grateful for those lessons. I see now that I was able to learn valuable things from her, even in her death. I was able to find strength and depth of courage I had not known before. My mom would be so proud of me. While time does heal, mostly, I don't mind the small hole in my heart. This is my mom's space. Even though my heart is full of amazing memories of my mom, I do appreciate this little empty spot too. I really don't want it to fully heal. It is a connection to the rawness, to the missing, to the unknown, to the faith in the unseen, to my sweet mama. I think that advice also really fits many of us as we're coming out of this pandemic. We've had our normality stripped away, for some of us more than others. I homeschool and I work from home, so it's been very minimal on me in many ways. But give yourself grace. If it's affected you, it could be your career, your children, and the daily stress levels of that we're kind of all in a little bit of survival mode. And some of those same things I talked about in that chapter are things we're all going to see in the next year or two as we come out of that survival mode and really start trying to put life back together in some way that looks how we want it to. And also the gift of that where we can rebuild it in ways maybe we were too scared to do before, and now we're done waiting for things. We're going to make our lives how we want them to be, which I think is really encouraging if we can just keep focused on that possibility. All right, you guys, if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I'm really working hard at getting this channel to the people that need to see these videos. There's so many people out there grieving that don't know where to turn, and they're stuck in these really tough places with it. All right, thanks you guys so much for watching. Bye.